So making the connection, does this sound how does the audio system sound normal with the microphone? Is this
A little soft for me, but.
okay, so is this better? Is this any better?
Yeah,
This is much better, okay. Okay, good, this is great. Thank you. Thank you for being patient with me as I get the audio working.
I like your shoes.
Oh, thank you. These shoes are from my costume, Halloween.
Oh.
It's the Halloween costume for when I dressed up as Galinda from Wicked. Wicked, you know, the musical that came out as a movie.
Where did Rose go?
Rose is right there. She's right outside the room.
Rose, please.
I'll get her. It's good.
I'll tell her I'm going.
Yeah, you got it. Okay.
I'm starting to shake. It's okay.
Yeah, I should have fun. Take a deep breath.
I'm watching.
I am blooming as a flower. I am fresh as a dream. I am soft as the mountain. I am firm as the earth.
I am free, I am free, I am free. There's a breathing exercise. At any point in the day, you do not have to have Parkinson's to do this. It's called box breathing. So if you like to move your finger, you like breathe in and then out. And then you breathe in and then out. And you can imagine the box. And it's just a way to kind of regulate your breath. Breathing in, breathing out, and breathing in and breathing out. So sometimes it's nice when you're breathing to be able to use your body to breathe. So you can even move your arms, like if you wanted to make like a star, you can breathe in and breathe out and breathe in and breathe out. You can hold hands. Holding hands, I think, is the best. Holding hands is absolutely the best. So keep taking a moment to just letting yourself be here. And as you begin to be here, one of the things you can do is to kind of relax your body. One of the things that happens with Parkinson's is, you've probably seen Parkinson's symptoms where like someone will have like a little bit of like a tremor, or maybe like their leg will be a little bouncy. And the movement, when your movement starts to happen in a way that you can't control it, it's because your dopamine in this part of your brain, the lower part of your brain, the limbic system, the dopamine does not fire or get produced in the same way that it used to. So have you ever gotten up in the middle of the night and you've sleepwalked, you've gone to the bathroom, you go back to the bed, but you don't even remember that you did it? That kind of activity, that kind of behavior, when we're talking about brain and behavior, that kind of activity is functioning from the limbic area. It's the part of your brain that you don't need to be conscious of it working. It's the same thing that affects your breathing. when you're breathing in and breathing out when you're sleeping. So this is a little bit of a very, 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 very simple overview of the brain. When this part of this midbrain area, whenever you feel upset or like, maybe you feel like upset or stressed about something, it's this middle part of the brain. Have you heard of, who here has heard of the fight or flight response? So that area of the brain is this middle area of the brain where it's where like the adrenaline and the cortisol comes from, that feeling of like, if there's like a lion chasing you, you're gonna run, that kind of experience. The upper part of your brain here, the prefrontal cortex, okay, this part of your brain that knows that it's okay to hold Rose's hands comes from you loving and trusting Rose. And that part of the brain that tells you you're friends with Miriam, or that it's okay for me to welcome Norma into the room, that's the part of our brain that like trusts people. It trusts each other. It's the part of our brain that says it's okay to be friends. It's the part of our brain that if I got like upset, let's say Norma's my best friend and I got upset with you, this part of the brain here that says, oh, go make up. That's this upper part of the brain. It's called the prefrontal cortex. And the prefrontal cortex and the hippocampus connected to memory they're the part of our brain that as adults we can make them stronger. So one of the ways you make them stronger is by holding hands. So take a moment to feel free to like hold your own hands and like squeeze your hands. So when you say nice to meet you, you're not having the experience of being chased away by the saber-toothed tiger, right? You're actually feeling some kind of trust, connection, maybe some sense of love or at least respect, knowing that it's okay to have this interaction. The part of our brain that gets affected with Parkinson's,
I can't do it.
you're doing great. Also, I love, I want to include you in being here. You can be here however you need to be. And if it's more comfortable for you to move around or step out, you're welcome to, but I want you to know that however you are is fine. You're good. You're allowed to just be with us and breathe and let Rose take care of you. I'm so grateful that you're here. It means the world to me that I get to be with each of you in your presence. Anything and everything that you've gone through in your life to get to the point where you're living in a place like this and able to be in community with each other and support each other.
We've known each other since we took Tai Chi.
It's wonderful. Tai Chi, by the way, Norma, is a good example. If you're doing a movement, you're doing the Tai Chi movements, that helps the upper part of your brain remember that you can relax, okay? So there's no official cure yet for Parkinson's. However, there's a lot of symptom management. Tai Chi is one of the best forms of movement for Parkinson's. And that kind of very relaxing movement is something we're going to practice doing together. So if you can feel your toes and just kind of like squeeze your toes or tap your toes, just like a little gentle movement. If you can even like wiggle your toes and move your hands and wiggle your toes and move your hands, what that does, even though you're not exercising like you're running and running and running, like a intensive exercise, the movement that you're doing is one of the main things that can turn on it activates the dopaminergic cells. If you're having a hard time producing dopamine in the limbic system of your brain, the one thing that helps strengthen this part of your brain, the limbic system that's responsible for eating and sleeping and movement, is more exercise. So let's say I'm feeling really depressed because I have Parkinson's. If I can dance with you and we can move, it actually turns on and stimulates and strengthens the part of the brain that is quote unquote under attack. The more you can move, the stronger you can help strengthen your dopamine cells. You can protect your dopaminergic cells. There's ways to do that with medicine. We're talking a little bit about neurology and neurological health. There's ways to do that with singing. And some of the most effective physical treatments for Parkinson's, like the movement, is dancing, singing, and boxing. So boxing, has anyone heard of something called rock steady boxing? It's a particular kind of boxing. So if you and I are boxing, let's say, Norma, let's say you're my boxing coach, right? A boxing coach might have me like do the punching on the boxing bag and really hard, you know, like the kind of like Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson level of boxing. The rock steady boxing is like a very gentle dance. And what it does is it uses the movement, not the same as Tai Chi, but it turns on and strengthens the production of the dopaminergic cells, even though Parkinson's is attacking them and getting the dopaminergic cells to shrink. This movement, very gentle. And the boxing gloves, when they do the rock steady boxing, are very light. So it's kind of like, Rose, if you were my boxing coach, you'd just be holding them, I'd be like tapping it. Very light. So it's almost like you're using the boxing, you're making the contact. It's the same idea of like holding your hands. Mom, if you're my boxing coach, hold up the boxing. So it's a very light. But what it does is this movement, more than other forms of exercise, turns on and strengthens this system here, the limbic system. For whatever reason, that movement, dancing, singing. So I'm talking about the physical things to help strengthen this part of the brain. We're going to talk about the social and the mental things that can affect your brain and behavior, but this is the physical. Rock steady boxing is one of the main things that they've.
Isn't that a song?
What's that?
Isn't that a song, Rock Steady?
Rock steady. It is.
Yeah.
It is a song. I've heard of that song. We're going to have to look it up together.
Okay.
So rock steady boxing, now listening to music, there's a very important study that my mom participated in at the Boston Medical Center Neurology Department, which is right over here at the old St. Elizabeth's Hospital. Yeah. What they did is they gathered dozens of neurology patients who were in treatment for Parkinson's. And the memory system, so we're talking about the middle of the brain now, the hippocampus. The middle of the brain is affected by that stress when the dopamine cells are not working as well as they used to. And that affects the memory. Now, one of the things they discovered that helps with memory, not just with Parkinson's patients, but also with people dealing with dementia or Alzheimer's, is listening to music. Listening to music for 10 to 30 minutes a day for 12 weeks. And we participated in this experiment. Mom was one of the participants in the experiment. And what they had her do was they had her on her phone listen to her favorite music for 10 to 30 minutes a day. And then they did these little memory tests. And the neurology nurse and the team there does memory tests between the appointments, and they'll do the music listening. And then after the music, they added reading. But the neurology nurse said it's not so much reading any book, it's reading a book out loud. It's the actual act. Like Norma, if you were my kindergarten teacher and I came to your class, if you were my kindergarten teacher,
Kindergarten.
yeah, if you were my kindergarten teacher and I came to your class and you read out loud to me, like you read me a storybook, that reading out loud for 10 to 30 minutes, very much like the listening to music, turns on the memory centers in the brain in a way that supports the strength of the hippocampus. That's the middle part of the brain, okay? So there's things like the boxing, the movement, there's singing, and there's reading out loud. It does not have to be a children's book in kindergarten. You could, Norma, if you read the book you're holding out loud to Kay for 10 minutes a day, there's something about that activity strengthens the network in the brain that's connected to your memory. And listening to music and singing strengthens a different network in the brain. And these are all ways, whether or not you've been diagnosed with Parkinson's. For example, Rose, you and I could sit around listening to our favorite music for 20 or 30 minutes a day and sing. And they've shown that the act of listening, like listening to music and only listening to music, or if we sat around and we sang together for 10, 20, 30 minutes a day, over a 12-week period of time, they could measure the increase in people's memory function. So reading out loud, singing together, boxing, dancing, these are all things that are not necessarily the cure, the only cure, but it helps strengthen all the different parts of our body that's affected by dopamine deficiency. So the dopamine production in the brain goes down, but then you can do things to help your brain and to help your memory. And one of the things that's very important to remember is you do not need to be diagnosed with Parkinson's to do all the things that someone who has a Parkinson's diagnosis might be recommended to do. I'm talking about these things because Mom and I have navigated her diagnosis and my father's diagnosis over the last 13 years. But Kay and Rose and Norma, we have learned so many things as a family about how to take care of anybody's memory, anybody's fitness. And one of the things that I love, and this is going to sound strange, one of the things I love about what I've learned from dealing with Parkinson's is that I feel comfortable holding your hand in public, because when my father's hands wouldn't stop shaking, he and I would hold hands in public. Now, you don't often see an adult child and an adult father holding hands at a restaurant. We would do this because this is the thing that helped the body. You know, some people take medicine, and you got to take your medicine, but some people can hold each other's hands, and it can be the most important thing that you can do to help each other with your health in the course of a day. So I would never have thought of holding your hand, Kay, in public 13 years ago. But one of the things I've learned from this journey with Parkinson's is that it's okay to hold hands in public, because holding hands takes care of people's brains in a way that I never, ever would have thought. Mom, do you have any questions so far or anything you'd like to add?
I would say that when Jeffrey, my husband, got the diagnosis of Parkinson's, the doctor said, he was head of the neurology department at my audit, and he said to me, the most important thing is that with Parkinson's is keeping in motion, keeping moving. And, taking,
It's gonna drop.
taking, dopamine and moving. And I took it seriously,
What was it that you took seriously?
the needing to keep moving.
Now, can you
I
take
can.
the microphone and eat it like an ice cream cone? And then just really yell into it?
I can say that taking medicine is one thing for some condition, some
Yeah.
illness, and been diagnosed. But to keep on moving forward, keep on moving, and to know that that's really the most important thing I can do and help him do. I got the importance of the moving. And I know that it's sometimes hard, when I first moved into an assisted living situation, I'd be waiting at the elevator and I couldn't take big steps, I couldn't move. And people would say to me, hurry up, go faster. And I couldn't go faster. Because one of the things about Parkinson's is that I'd be frozen. And I'd have to get into a place of moving, taking big steps, not little steps, because there's little shuffles that we see people doing for Parkinson's when they have Parkinson's or other illnesses. Doesn't support you keeping moving. So,
Excuse me.
Oh, you're fine. Burping and farting is good. So, Mom, the keeping on moving forward, I want to tell Norma and Kay and Rose about this whole thing around big steps.
yeah.
Because it comes right out of physical therapy. Can I explain it to them? Okay, so imagine, Norma, I'm not gonna touch your back, but I'm just gonna pretend like you and I are getting on the elevator in the Cambridge homes, like your mom, my mom. So she would be on her walker and, well, Rose and Kay, this is like when you're going from the dining room onto the elevator, that little area
Yeah.
where people are wanting to get on and off fast. Okay, so that little area is like,
Rose,
it's,
no, I don't want that.
this area where you're like, you get frozen, you get stuck. There's something that the physical therapist taught us where you say, big step, just take one big step.
Yeah.
What happens in the brain when you're dealing with something like Parkinson's, like a dopamine deficiency, is when you talk to the brain, it's important that you say one thing.
I have to stop. I have to go out.
You're good, you can go out. You can go out,
Yeah, will you come with me?
of course. She's all yours, Kay. She's your care partner. By the way, as you leave, Rose and Kay, I want to let you know there's something that we learned from the Parkinson's Foundation. It's a phrase called being care partners. Oftentimes we call it caregivers, but you're like a care partner. You're partnering with each other. You're helping each other as partners. And so you're a wonderful example of being a care partner. And I appreciate you and Rose and Kay for your relationship. It's quite beautiful. So, Kay, I will tell you more about the big step when I see you next, okay? You're doing great. You're doing great. Thank you for coming to dance with me. All right, I'll see you again soon.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Thank you for dancing with me.
Okay.
I'll make this one last point because I think this is an important takeaway. For anyone who deals with any sort of stress on their brain, the idea of just take one big step, it helps the brain focus, really focus in on the smallest activity. Because Norma and Mom, what happens when the dopamine goes down, the ability to activate movement, to initiate things, goes way down. But one of the things, if I were to give you a laundry list of 10 things you needed to do in 5 minutes, it would be hard to remember. But if you can focus on, okay, just take one big step in this minute, it allows the brain to focus on just that one thing. And when you can focus your brain on the smallest little thing and just do that one thing and that next step, it helps the brain focus. So this might be something that the physical therapist recommended for people who deal with Parkinson's, but it's a really good skill for anyone who's dealing with any form of stress, or maybe hasn't slept enough, or maybe is just really, really upset about something and they can't pay attention. If you focus on that one thing, that tiny thing, just take the next step, it allows for the brain, the dopamine systems to be active. So I wanted to leave you with that idea. Focusing on the tiniest, smallest thing, whether it's reading a book, just read one page. If you're really tired and you're eating dinner, take one more bite. And making things truly tiny and bite-sized can be the thing that allows you to get from your dining room to your apartment and then be able to rest and get up the next day and do the Tai Chi or do the rock steady boxing or the movement. So there's a lot of pieces to this, but I hope that some of these ideas are things that can be useful, whether or not you have been diagnosed with Parkinson's or whether you just want to use these kind of tips and tools for how to make the most use of your brain and your brain's functioning as you live. So thank you for coming. We really, really appreciate you for coming.
I hadn't intended at all to be part of this, but here I am, and it's quite interesting, and I will follow her. So
Yeah, that's great. Norma, thank you.
thank you.
Yes.
We've played games before.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Norma.
Thank you.
I have the book. Thank you, Kay. Thank you, Rose. Thank you, Helen. Well, let me get the door for you, Norma. Thank you for coming spontaneously like this. It was really fun to spend more time with you. Enjoy your afternoon.
Thank you.
It's nice to be able to share these kinds of tips and tools that we've been learning. It kind of reinforces our ability to practice them, but it makes all of the energy it's taken to go through what we've gone through, it makes it feel like what we've gone through can be a contribution to others as well. And that feels just very,
It's good, Noah.
it feels important. I think, we've been doing different parts of this conversation now since December. Are there things that you noticed me talking about today? I mean, a lot of things were things we've talked about in the last 4 months, but was there anything in particular that felt kind of useful for you in your own journey with all this stuff with Parkinson's?
Just one step, one. It's useful in the way you explained it to people who didn't have Parkinson's.
I was thinking about Dr. Ed Walpo when he told us during Dad's diagnosis that if you all learn to do what Jeffrey's going to learn to do, if you all do with him what he's doing, everyone's physical and mental health is going to be better for a long time. He said the majority of his Parkinson's patients end up living longer because they're doing the things that would be an ideal healthcare practice for anyone living a healthy life. And so you can wave to Gayatri.
Hi, Gayatri.
You can wave to Todd.
Hi, Todd.
Thank you, Todd. Thank you, Victoria. Thank you, Cherry and Gayatri. Thank you, Jake and Diane. Thank you, Judy. Thank you, Marlene. Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Pamela. Thank you, Candelaria. Thank you, Victoria. Thank you, Julia. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Dad, for getting us connected to Todd Raymond. Because this all started when you encouraged Dad to run that the meditation groups on Saturday morning.
Right.
And he did that group, and then Todd said, the reason I brought you in to run these Parkinson's and gratitude programs, Noah, is because I knew that you and your family love having really good group programs that help people. And I saw what you and Mom helped Dad do. And I thought if you guys could do that, that you could do a gratitude group and you could do a Parkinson's group. So I also want to celebrate that you and Dad and I had we had a spiritual meditation practice from the time I was 12 together as a family. And so that was the basis for what we've been practicing, learning the Dzogchen shared meditation practices with Socham Leone out Sparky Shooting Star.
Well, we learned as a family that it's important for a group of people who are related to one another to have a spiritual practice.
Mm.
And Dad was the one who wanted us to have the same spiritual teacher. And
That's right.
so we followed through on that.
Yeah, I remember that road trip that he and I went on where we discovered Socham after running down from the monsoon weather in Pagosa Springs, Colorado, that road trip after graduating from
China.
Yeah, you were at the Women's World Conference. So we're recording this specifically for the group that's been involved in helping us get this program and this project off the ground. So what's going to come next, Todd told me today, we're going to do a lecture every season. So this spring, summer, and fall, and then next year it'll be, winter, spring, summer, and fall. And so we're going to have the opportunity to invite people, whether it's online or to come to Cabot Village in person. And we'll have a lecture space with like 50 people can come and learn about neurology, neuroscience, the latest research on how gratitude helps the brain and the nervous system, all of the different topics that we've discovered, as well as how to take care of our bodies ourselves. And I think based on what you and I are talking about, it's also our spirits ourselves. How do you take care of your body, mind, and spirit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Helen.
Hi, Helen.
Hi,
Hi.
what's up?
We're just finished the lecture about neurology and how to use the tools from Parkinson's to help everybody's memory and physical health.
What's gonna help my memory?
What's going to help your memory is giving me a hug.
Give you a hug?
Yeah.
I don't want a memory.
Oh, you don't? Do you want to just, oh, this was the thing we were talking about.
Yeah, seriously.
The boxing, when you do the rock steady boxing, here, just take a tap. This motion they've discovered when people are doing this boxing motion, even if it's like the lightest, most gentle motion, it reduces the stress of Parkinson's and it increases dopamine production in the limbic system. It's called rock steady boxing.
Mhm.
Rock steady boxing. Have you heard of rock steady boxing?
No. I never heard of anything.
Have you
I'm not smart, I'm stupid, tell them.
No, you're putting on a show. You're one of the smartest people I know. You want to know why? You come to all of my programs. You've never not come to one of my programs, Helen.
What programs do you have?
You did the book signing with me. You did the gratitude group with me. You've come to the Parkinson's support groups. You've come to the neurology lecture now. You stop by.
You know what I think? His eyes, he sees somebody else.
I'll tell you what you taught me.
What?
You gotta laugh to live to 98 and a half.
I what?
You have to laugh to live to 98 and a half.
Why?
Because that's what you do. You laugh and you've made it to 98 and a half.
You know, you're all messed up. You don't know how old I really am.
You told me you were 98 and a half.
I never told you
You
that.
did.
99, I never told you.
You told me. Because when I met you, you were 98 and a half. You gotta laugh to get to 98 and a half. Grandma Helene did.
She said you have to be 90 to get.
Grandma Helene made it to 98.
Mhm.
She made it to 98 in 2 months. So anyway, this is going to be turned into a lecture series. And I wanted to most importantly appreciate you for the way that you have been someone who allows yourself, Mom, to very easily be returned to the ideas that you care about, whether it's that women should know what's in the birth control pill, whether it is that so many people want this book, it's just inevitable that we're going to sell over 1 million copies with our bodies ourselves. The idea of finding a spiritual teacher like Thich Nhat Hanh who could allow you to share a spiritual practice with Dad that was so important to him and then would invite me into that process. The way you've allowed yourself to be led by my own curiosities, whether it's with mindfulness practice or gratefulness practice or with ontological studies at Landmark and other places. You've allowed yourself to be led and followed the idea of having the name Miriam. And you've been someone my whole life, Mom, who has been true to the dreams that you have. And you follow the ideas that just simply feel right to you, and you trust those ideas, and you allow yourself to be a follower. You let yourself be led by your dreams that are so loving and caring for so many people.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Your hair is wild.
It is, right? This is almost as wild as we got during the pandemic. Do you remember when it was 13 weeks before we got the haircut? So I'm going to pause the recording because I think we've kind of completed the goal of getting this information out today. And I hope that you feel the acknowledgement of what I'm saying, because your desire to keep this idea going is part of what gave me confidence to keep moving forward with this idea of being powerful with Parkinson's, which is what I wrote my TED Talk on back in 2019. But to trust that I could move to San Francisco, to trust that I could start Discover Gratitude, to trust that this kind of conversation could happen in a hybrid way between Zoom and multiple communities. You've taught me the skill of allowing to let the ideas that inspire you lead you. And that's something that you've really been a role model of, that kind of behavior and thinking. And I'm appreciating that because it's bigger than you. It's not just like a personality trait. It's something that you've kept practicing, trusting your kind of intuition of what you just know is right. You know it's going to work. You don't know how. It's a lot of faith. It's a lot of trusting your imagination, the ideas that come to you, your intuition, the thing that just seems like it makes sense, regardless of whether or not it makes sense to other people.
Bag of books upstairs.
Oh, good. Let me get you some more water. The books will give us some more ideas to be led by. All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into the Powerful with Parkinson's program recap unplugged. We will be coming back to you in May. There's going to be a live lecture series. If you've made it this far and you have ideas for things that you would like to learn about kind of how to make the most of your brain health, your heart health, your gut health, we're going to be discussing the neurological kind of the memory in the gut, the memory in the heart, and the memory in the brain, not just the memory in the brain that we so often talk about. I really appreciate you being with us on this journey. I know some of you have kind of seen our gratitude gatherings and participated in our Discover Gratitude community. If you have not and you want to participate in the public group, you can go to Facebook and you can look for the Discover Gratitude community. It is a private group, so you'll need to request an invitation. You can find me on Facebook at Coach Noah. So it's facebook.com/gratitude Noah and facebook.com/Coach Noah. We have set up a very private, confidential network to continue talking as a support group. And if you'd like to participate in the support group, you can send an email to powerfulwithparkinsons@gmail.com. So it's powerful, POWERFUL, with WITH, Parkinson's, PARKINSONS @gmail.com. Send us an email and we can invite you into more of like the private discussion group that happens on Zoom, on the computer. And we're also setting up an app, like a little social private network where we can discuss things and support one another. If you or a loved one is struggling with the experience of Parkinson's, or maybe it's a symptom like tremors or memory loss, and you don't know if it's Parkinson's or dementia or Alzheimer's, it doesn't need a name to receive support. I want you to call the Parkinson's Foundation helpline. It's manned and womaned and humaned by health professionals. So you're going to go to parkinson.org, PARKINSON, parkinson.org, and you're going to go there, and you can also call their helpline. The helpline is on the website, but if you need to call, this is the first place that I called to get support when my father was originally diagnosed in the summer of 2012. You call 1-800-4PD-INFO. So that's 1-800-4PD-INFO. So it's 1-800-4PD-INFO. And when you go to parkinson.org, PARKINSON.org, the phone number will be at the top of the page. There's a very, very, very special educational event coming up for the New England chapter of the Parkinson's Foundation, Stephanie, who's in charge of the education and outreach part, and Kyle, who's in charge of the development section of the region, have let me know that there's a few spaces left in the program on April 12th. You can travel to Portland, Maine, and spend the day in an educational workshop about how to be powerful with Parkinson's and learn as much as you can, particularly on the latest research in the genetics research that's being done around Parkinson's. And you can attend that program virtually. If you go and search in your web browser, Parkinson's Foundation New England, there's a whole direct link for the programs happening in New England. And the surest bet is to call 1-800-4PD-INFO and go to parkinson.org, and all of the information, all the events, all the resources and fundraisers are there. For those of you who are familiar with Michael J. Fox, the Michael J. Fox Foundation has its own social network, very much like a Facebook or a MySpace, for those of you who started social media with me back in the early 2000s, specifically to support people around the world who are online and want a private, focused, research-based support group network. The Parkinson's Foundation has one of the best support lines when you call 1-800-4PD-INFO. The Michael J. Fox Foundation has a great level of support inside of what they call their Parkinson's Buddy Network. So the Parkinson's Buddy Network is a great way to give and receive support. And that is something that you would go to the Michael J. Fox Foundation website. So it's michaeljfox.org. And you would sign up for the Parkinson's Buddy Network. And it's like its own kind of Facebook social network, very robust, lots of support topics and materials. And it is funded by the money that you give to Michael J. Fox. There's also the American, it's the American Association. It's like the American ADPA. It's a special, excuse me for not being more literate after talking about this, but the two organizations I've partnered with the most are Parkinson's Foundation and the Michael J. Fox Foundation. There's the Parkinson's disease. It's like the American Association for Parkinson's disease. There's other foundations. There's the Boston Medical Center neurology group where we've worked with nurse Keith Saccone, who's a lot of the person who's behind some of those recommendations on music and reading for memory. And there's a lot of resources out there. The exciting thing is that the cure, quote unquote cure, which right now looks like the balancing out of the symptoms to be able to function relatively normally. All of the solutions to the majority of symptoms associated with Parkinson's are on track to be manageable or quote unquote curable in the next 3 to 5 years. There's enough research and progress being made. It doesn't necessarily stop the degradation of the dopamine cells in the brain, but there's enough solutions and support mechanisms, whether it's lifestyle, medical, social, family, emotional, spiritual, physical resources that are being gathered now so that someone could notice their handwriting, or they could notice a lot of these preventative tests. They do genetic testing and they get tested and they notice early on enough that they may have the beginning of this kind of dopamine deficiency disorder. And there's enough solutions and tools to help. The projection is to help the majority of people mitigate those symptoms and really live longer, but live well, more functional, having optimal health span, not just lifespan, but optimal functioning and health span. And I want to leave you with this last thing. What we talked about, my mom, Nancy Miriam Hawley, and I talked about, was what we learned from the original doctor, Dr. Edward Walpole, who built the neurology center in a great way at Mount Auburn Hospital in Cambridge, Massachusetts. It's very important to remember that if you support people with Parkinson's in your life, and you do the physical therapy alongside of them, and you eat nutritious meals, and you're conscious of your medications and your proteins and your movement and your digestion and your sleep,
and all of the general healthcare items that you get an opportunity to become way more aware of when you deal with dopamine deficiency, if we all support doing the things that help people with Parkinson's get power and some level of, I can do something about this, some level of agency. If and when we all do those things together, all of our health improves. So the diagnosis of Parkinson's is really an invitation for family members and friends and communities to come together and do the things that are being recommended by the health professionals. I also recommend some people get diagnosed with Parkinson's, but really they may have essential tremor, or they get diagnosed with essential tremor, and really they may be dealing with Parkinson's. It's important that you get your diagnosis checked by a second and ideally third opinion. It's really important that you get your diagnosis checked by one or two other healthcare professionals. If you have access to that level of care, please do that. There are many people who get misdiagnosed with Parkinson's when really they're dealing with essential tremor, and they get diagnosed with essential tremor when really they're dealing with Parkinson's. It's very important to go to your doctors with someone to support you, a friend. Never go to an appointment alone, ever. Always ask for help and get that diagnosis double and triple checked, because once you've done that, once you can rest assured that what you're dealing with is what you are really dealing with, then you can embrace what there is to do about this with full gusto the way we have, and learn as much physically, mentally, and spiritually from this journey as possible. So in the spirit of the Serenity Prayer, which we use in a lot of support groups around the world, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change. You may not be able to change the fact that your dopamine production has altered. And accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can. There may be courage that you need to call on in order to go out of your way and say, hey, mom, hey, dad, hey, person struggling with Parkinson's symptoms, I want to help you. Or will you let me help you? Or maybe, will you help me to help you? There may be some really important conversations to have, which take courage and the wisdom to know the difference. Pace yourself, listen to your own wisdom, listen to your own intuition, listen to your body. Ask your body what it needs. Ask your mind what it needs. Ask your spirit what it needs. This can be just as much a spiritual growth journey as well as a physical solutions, problems being solved, symptoms being mitigated. It's really important that you remember who you are is not your diagnosis. You are not now a Parkinson's patient. Unless that identity supports you, you are the great human being that you are and that you can be. And your body is dealing with symptoms that need the best care possible. And keep asking for that care. Call 1-800-4PD-INFO. Go to parkinson.org, go to michaeljfox.org, and get the support. The support is out there and it is underutilized. There's a lot more availability for this support to be used than is being used. And with the rate of people being diagnosed with these things that affect your nervous system and your neurology, we are here to support you. I partner regularly with the Parkinson's Foundation to do these programs. We're going to be doing the lecture series. So I just want to make sure, I implore you to allow yourself to ask for help and receive help. And with that, I give you my love, my gratitude for listening. I hope that this information today and in the future, the things that we publish and that we talk about really do make a positive impact on the quality of your life, on the quality of the life of those people you love, and maybe the people you haven't met yet that you could pass this on to. I know this workshop was very much kind of unplugged and you're seeing it in total developmental mode, but I really appreciate those of you who've stuck with us and are continuing to participate and learn and be open to this information. And most importantly, allow yourself to help others and be of service to yourself by receiving help. Thank you so much.
And keep on moving forward.
And I keep on moving forward. And I keep on moving forward. Never turning back.
Never turning back.
Never turning back. There we go. One more breath at a